Okay, folks. So today's our last day meeting, that is, with a webinar. You have until the end of tomorrow to turn everything in. Some of you already have. Remember, that's the three projects. There's the mask, the Tokidoki slash skateboard project. And the last one, which was more open-ended, it could be architectural detail, a product, portrait, kind of up to you. And also lessons 1 through 13. Lesson 14 is optional. So that's that. So anyway, what I have here, I'm just going down the list of who's here, and we'll, if you're open to it, we can go ahead and we can talk about your final project for a little bit. And that will be it for the semester. I hope this has worked out for everybody. Hasn't been too painful. Meeting online and doing everything separately and independently from one another. But, you know, that's a new world. That's where we're at right now. So anyway, Evelyn, can you hear me? I'm going to go ahead and you can mute yourself.
Yes, I can hear you.
Your self-portrait, really beautiful. I don't have any criticisms at all. I really like it.
If you look at the picture before, that's actually my cousin. Yeah, her name's Pixie.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, she had this photo and she sent it to me and I really liked it.
Okay. Well, I like your interpretation a lot. So tell us about I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what tools, techniques did you find appealing, you know, that you gravitate towards? Because your interpretation of the photograph is a perfect use of Illustrator as opposed to something like Photoshop. So it works really, really nicely. So go ahead.
All right. So, I use for my line, well, like what I normally do for stuff like this is I would go to a different program first and outline it and add like changes I want first on there. So, I use Procreate again. I outlined it how I wanted it, then I uploaded it to Illustrator. Then what I did is I used a combination of like the pen tool and the painter tool to do my outlines. And so you can see I have color switching, like where like the skin like touch where like skin touches like something else. So instead of using black, I would use like a red instead. I use the paint tool to go over that because I wanted it to look like it was sort of blurred instead of just like a straight color switch. I use the glob tool a lot on this because it's freeform tool, so I didn't really have to worry about filling in lines that much with that tool because you can just erase. So what I like to do is I go under my line art and then go use the blob tool and then I can just fill in what I want because yeah, like I said, it's very freeform. Nothing constricts you from like erasing with that tool. That was nice.
Yeah, the block
Um,
tool, you're
yeah.
the first person that's openly admitted. I think it's a nice tool because if you don't like the constraints or the mechanical properties of the pen tool and that sort of thing, it allows you to kind of freely draw, especially if you have a Wacom tablet or something, then you can, you know, draw freely and paint and then use the eraser tool to correct and make changes. And if you want, you can go back to the pen tool or the curvature tool and refine or correct. But yeah, it works very nicely. Yeah.
So yeah, then I really like the gradient tool, but it was really annoying that I had to get shapes and do gradients. It couldn't be free. So what I had to
Yeah.
do is with all my blushing, I got circles and then to make it look like it blended in, I just got one point where it's like the one pink color and then everywhere else around was the tan skin color.
Mhm.
So I wanted it to look like it was like really boldly there, but like really belonged. So I used like circles on like the knuckles. I have one under her eye, so it looks like she's smiling. And then like I did a gradient on like the shoulder down.
Mhm.
And then for my shading, I did about 3 tones down everywhere, I suppose. So like the clothes are 3 tones down, the skin 3 tones down. And then the hair is 3 tones as well. And then the last thing I really like using, like, I really like sparkles and stuff. So I used like the circle and star tool to make her hair look really nice and sparkly because I wanted it to look like water, and that was my goal there. And then with the 2 pieces on like on the phone case and on her arm, I just used I did the pencil tool for that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you have good control over it. The pencil tool for me has always been worthless.
Mm.
My hand skills, it, drawing with a pencil or charcoal are very kind of rough these days. And I like that look, but when I'm working in Illustrator or Photoshop, I want it to be more precise. And maybe it's just being out of practice or rusty or whatever, but I kind of revert to the more mechanical ways of drawing. But yeah, no, it works really nice, really nice. Tell me about Procreate a little bit.
Oh, so Procreate's an app you have on your iPad. It's like about $10 and you use it with the Apple Pencil. I really like it. I heard like my father's in the professional field. They're using Procreate a lot more than like Adobe and stuff nowadays because of like how freeform it is. It's very easy. It's like it's really simple and very cheap. It depends on your field, but yeah, with my father's field, you use that quite a bit more.
Is is it kind of a pared down version or an alternate version of Illustrator, or
It's
is it
like
cross
it's
between?
not as mechanical as Illustrator. It's a lot more, painterly, stylized, stuff like that.
Okay, okay, I've heard of it, but I've never used it. So just was curious. Okay, but you took your your photograph and then stylized it, or not stylized it, but interpreted the photograph from Procreate first. Okay, well, I'll have to look into that one. Great. Do the rest of you who were here, Malik, Natalie, Paige, Soyun, Susie, you guys have any comments? Raise your hand. I'll just let all of you talk. So I'm unmuting all of you. So there aren't that many of you. So if you want to talk, you're welcome to unmute yourself. And
I really like how she did the fish tattoo.
wait, who's speaking? Because your sound kind of garbled.
Natalie.
Who is this? Is this Natalie? No, it's okay. It just, there's something funny with the microphone. It sounds like you're underwater. Okay. Well, let me, if there are any further questions or comments, let's go back and we'll look at some of the others.
Could we also switch the interpreters?
What's that?
Could we switch the interpreters?
Sure. Mhm. So I'm going to go to Brooke. Okay. Okay. So let's go to back to attendees. So you let's see what you have. If you have anything yet? There you go. So here, scroll down. So here's your final. Okay, so you wanted to, oh, that's a nice architectural piece. So about the tools that you used for this. Did you use the perspective tool?
I'm sorry. Please understand that I'm not fluent in English.
Okay, okay. If you would
Yeah,
rather me talk, then I can do that then.
yeah.
You want me to talk instead?
I want to show the detail of the interior of the spaceship.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's very clear.
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
no, it's very clear what you're doing. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So, yeah, no, I like that. It's really kind of pared down. It's the color is really intense with the pinks and the violets, and the focus is clearly on looking through and outside to the exterior, to the stars and another planet. Yeah, it's very apparent, and it's really kind of pared down. I think what might make it more, I don't know if it'd make it more interesting. I like it for our project because it's about, what you need to do. But if you had additional interior elements to bring the viewer's attention back to the interior, because right now I'm drawn to the exterior, and to be able for the viewer to go back and forth, that would be kind of nice. But the work is very clean. The your composition is really strong. I like the concept a lot as well. So yeah, it's an unusual approach to an architectural detail. I hadn't thought about that. I haven't seen anything like that before. So for me, it's a nice surprise. So yeah, I thank you. Does anybody else have anything they want to add? Does anybody want to?
Oh yes, it's really pretty. I really do like your eyes draw outside more than the inside because that's kind of the point of a spaceship,
Yeah,
sort of.
no, I like it. It's good.
I really like it. I really like your color choices. They're all like in the same family. I like that you use the purple to bounce around, so your eyes do move around the screen with like the darker purple. And yeah, I think it looks really nice.
Yeah, it's really,
Thank you.
very nice. Yeah, good job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
Yeah, I second that with the colors. I think you made really smart choices and it really comes across really well.
Thank you.
cool. Okay, very nice. Okie doke. Let's go on to the next. So next one down, Malik. Let me find yours. Malik, where are you? There, no, it's Martin. There's Malik. And here it is. So Malik, you chose to do a product. Okay. You want to tell us about your product? It's a nice stylized approach. You there, Malik?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your piece.
I'm not sure if I have much to say.
Okay. Were there any, okay, did you have any aha moments? You used pretty much all the tools that you had at your disposal before. Any new tools that you've used that you didn't before or no? Or... See, this one would be a perfect one for the 3D tool, or using the perspective tool to put it in perspective. Because you could do it, flat, two-dimensionally, and then put it in perspective. Very nice. I like the subtle approach to the wood grain in the back. It's a nice complement to the plastic surfaces and that sort of thing. So it's very simplified, stylized approach to product, but it's executed very well. It's all very clean. No real major glitches or anything. So yeah, well done, Marie. Okay. Yeah, good job. Anybody else?
I like that it's really clean. It's like really
It's clean.
nice and neat.
Well, you know, I mean, there are little things that maybe that go that maybe are not that I probably take for granted. That let's talk about composition for a moment, and then that's it. The verticality of the lines in the background are important because that moves your eyes up and up and down, throughout the composition. And then juxtaposed against that is the diagonal or the horizontal of the game player itself. But it's not a straight horizontal, it's at a slight diagonal that works with this rectangular format. So the juxtaposition of the verticals against the diagonals work nicely so that your eye moves across the composition very well, but those verticals serve to kind of slow you down a little bit so you just don't read through it too quickly. And I don't even know that you realize that you did that, but it works nicely. Yeah, we've got some good stuff. I appreciate that. Okie doke. Let's go back. Natalie is next up. Let me see, there you are. Let's see what you got. Natalie, do you have yours here?
Folder.
Oh, it's in the final folder. There we go. Okay. Oh, don't do that. Are you gonna crash? Let me download it and see if I can't open it that way. I'm not sure why it's not opening, so we'll come back to it. Let me look real quick here. Hold on. Oh, come on. Let me look at downloads here and see if it's here. That's not it. Let me look at this and look at date, most recent. That's not it. Okay, well, I don't see it at the moment, so I'm going to have to tinker with it and we'll come back to it. Hold on here. So let me try one more time. It's not allowing me to preview it. So hold on. Let me go back. So after Natalie is Paige Tobias. So let's look at yours. I think the one for you, Paige, that stood out to me was your architectural detail. I kind of like that a lot. Are you there, Paige?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead and tell us about that. It is a nice detail. And it's a nice stylized interpretation. I only have one suggestion for you, and that's it. But go ahead.
Yeah, so when I do like stuff on Adobe, I usually try to make it look exactly like the thing, but then like the prompt said don't do that. So I was trying to find ways to make it look a little more artistic than just like the building and the statue. So for this one, I found a really good shortcut that saved me a lot of time, was just like using Command 6 to do the select same color thing, because I played around with the color a lot and it was like blue for a while, and then I tried like blue and yellow together, and then I just settled on like the cream and the green kind of color.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a lot of layering patterns on top of the normal colors just to kind of make it more interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that works very nicely. The only thing that I would do is that I would create a rectangle on top of everything and use it as a clipping mask to cut off the rough edges. Unless you like leaving them.
Yeah, I went back and forth for a while because I thought it was kind of boring without the things going
Okay.
outside of it.
Because I didn't know whether that was intentional or not. I like it, but if it's not intentional, if it's just, well, we're kind of hanging over and I would rather it be within a clean rectangle, then I would suggest using a clipping mask. But if you like it that way, then yeah, I kind of prefer it myself. So yeah, it gives it a little bit less formal, static look. Yeah, very nice. And again, it's another really good example of simplified, stylized version of a subject using Illustrator. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Okay. Cool. Anybody else have any comments or thoughts?
Ooh, I do. I really like this. It's really nice. I'm just wondering, like, what tool or like what brush did you use for your strokes on like the body? Because I really like the strokes on that.
Thank you. I mainly used the pen tool on this project, and so I did a lot of ovals, and then I just kind of like, like drew the pen around it to make it look more like contours instead of the brush strokes. Just because I felt like I was able to control it a little bit easier, so I did that for a lot of them.
I like it.
Yeah. That's
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm pleasantly surprised we've gotten so many good projects.
Professor, do you mind switching the interpreters? Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
To Bernice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. So next up, we got Susie. So let me find Susie's project. A. Gonzalez, Susie, let's go in here. Okay, there you go. Cool. You want to tell us? Talk to us, Susie. You have.
So it didn't come out the way I wanted it to. I ran out of time. I was thinking I wanted to do that San Francisco Painted Ladies. So I built one, and work is starting up again. So I had a bunch of meetings. So I couldn't have, I didn't put in enough time into my work, I think. But I was able to use a perspective tool. That was kind of fun to mess around with. And then I copied and pasted and used the assets that I had, like the windows and the doors, and just, change the colors, change the shapes, and then threw in a background.
Okay. Well, but what you're experiencing is kind of typical working in the field. As a fine artist, I don't have really any deadlines except the ones that I place on myself. Or if I'm lucky to be in a show, then that's the deadline I have, but they're not anything like in the commercial art world. And I did that for about 9 years, almost 10 years as a commercial illustrator. That was kind of my first job as an artist. And you have to deal with that, and you dealt with it well. And that's, I think, where the strength of computer graphics comes into play. You know, if you copy, paste, and create variations, that's what it's about. It's allowing you to work very quickly and efficiently. And if you do have the opportunity to work on a project and to spend additional time on it, then you're very lucky. And you know, those kinds of projects typically are far and few between. So I think overall, you did really well. You did fine. It's a, you know, there's things that I might tweak, the size of windows and things like that, or, you know, I don't know, you know, little proportions and stuff that I might go back and tweak. But, you know, given the restrictions that we have and the tight time, you know, the reduced time frame and that sort of thing we would normally have in a regular semester, you did just fine.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, that window is very low. It's like a ginormous window compared to the doors. But yes, it was a pretty fast-paced course. But it was fun. Like, I really learned things that I didn't know Illustrator could do. Like, that perspective tool just blew me out of the water. I was like, this is really handy.
Yeah, I really haven't used it much because when I put things in perspective, I generally use a 3D modeling program to build what I need. But yeah, for the little amount that I have used it, I know that in certain circumstances, and you've illustrated it very well, that it would work perfectly for that. Yeah. And I like how you've used the brush, you know, for the foliage and the trees and the shadows and that sort of thing. It's all kind of a pared down, stylized, simplified approach that works very nicely. You know, and they're for spot illustrations, for children's books, for any number of reasons, you know, things. You know, it could go into a Westways magazine or something like that. You know, there's any number of publications that would work. These days, typically illustrations that are kind of stylized realism or photorealistic, there is still a very teeny tiny market for it, not like there was in the 80s and 70s. But because Photoshop is so prevalent in its use throughout the industry, what you need to do if you're going to do this commercially is to kind of go in the opposite direction. That to work, to be able to work quickly and efficiently, and at the same time do something that Photoshop can't do. And Photoshop can do this, but not as well as Illustrator. And it doesn't look like a photograph. That's the point that I'm trying to make. So yeah, okay. Well, thanks. Anybody else want to chime in? No? We have Deborah and Jose. So let me go back. Here's Deborah's. Is yours up yet, Deborah? Has she posted it yet? She took away from
I'm trying to find her. I don't see her here. Hold on. Let me see.
She was earlier.
Yeah, I don't see her now.
She's in the attendees, but not in the panelists.
Let me see.
No, I put her in the panelist earlier. So, okay, allow to talk.
Oh yeah, she's there.
She switched to promote panelists. So
Oh, she said that she said she hasn't finished it yet.
Okay, that's fine. I just need to know. Okay, so we have Jose. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause and I'm going to go back to whose was it? Natalie's, I think. And I'm going to try, I'll pause the recording and I'm going to try to open it up and see if I can't download the file and we'll take a look at it. So let me look at Jose's and see what we have here. There it is. There's Jose's. This is your final self-portrait. Okay. Okay, Jose, tell us a little bit about your wanted poster, self-portrait.
Hi, good morning. I guess I just went with a more simple approach. Couldn't find something to do, so I just did it on this. And I added effects to the photo, so it could come out a little bit more. I wanted to make it more old Western style, but I had trouble doing that, so I ended up with this. And I
Okay,
got the background from the internet.
you would probably want to actually remove most of the color from it and make it kind of like a duotone or something. That
Okay.
would probably help.
I did have it without the color, but I guess because the other letters look more intense. But yeah, I did have it without color at first.
Okay, well, again, it's a nice interpretation. I like it. Yeah. The only thing that your wanted text works fine. For crimes against, room tidiness works nice. You would probably want to pick a different typeface for where you have Abigail, her father, Jose, and her longtime criminal partner, Teddy the Great. Because that brings it, into the present, as opposed to an old time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it works nicely.
Yeah.
Okie doke. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause. I'm going to pause the recording. So we finally have Natalie's because she's sharing it. And I want to make sure that I write these guys down too. So I don't know why you weren't able to load that. So tell us about, what you got going here.
Okay, so one of the tools that I used was a perspective tool, and I never used that before, so that was pretty interesting. And so for the project, I tried to make it look like kind of like a tunnel floating in space. So in order to do that, I put some objects floating in the backgrounds so that it can look like that. And I made sure that the hallway, the tiles weren't all the way to the front so that it looks like the viewer is kind of standing in front of it. And yeah, I had really fun doing it. I mean, I had a lot of fun doing it.
Cool. Well, it looks like you had fun. Really good use of the text, the patterns. Did you find all of those in the pattern libraries?
Yeah.
Yeah. And incorporating gradients with them. Did you make use of any of the other features like, I can't think right here. Let me move this over. Any other libraries? I can't think offhand.
Well, I used gradients.
Did you convert any of them into graphic styles or whatever?
Oh yeah,
Symbols, or did you use your own symbols or anything? Or you found
I got the butterflies and the tiles, and also the drip, the melting effect. I got it from the internet, and then I placed it on here. And the pillars, I used a template to make it. And then when I was done, I took the template off. So I traced
everything by using the pen tool.
Okay.
And what else did I do? Yeah, and then the rest of the shapes, I made it by hand.
Okay. Do any of the rest of you have any questions, comments?
I
No?
really like the colors. It's so neon. It's really cool
Oh,
looking.
very 60s. It's a very psychedelic. And also the way that you distorted the type where it says welcome back in the back. Yeah, that's very 60s. That's
Thank
when I was a teenager. So yeah, the colors, the distorted freeform kind of type. Yeah, it has a very psychedelic feel about it. And butterflies, I guess, were part of that. Yeah, no, it's definitely different. It's cool. Very nice. Yeah,
Thank you.
you did a good job. Everybody did a good job. I really liked it. So final words, try to upload it again. I've made a note though that you did finish it. So and let's see what else. Yeah, I'm just making note of who's here. So we should be good. Yeah, okay. So if there aren't any further questions or comments or whatever, I guess we're done for today. And I appreciate all of you sticking it out. And most of you who are here today have been pretty regular participants, and I appreciate that. I hope that these webinars have been helpful, not too tedious, and that their recordings have been helpful as well for review. I think the Illustrator class is pretty straightforward and doesn't require too much additional explanation from me. You know, I try to be here when you need me. And that's about it. Okay. So are we done? I guess we're done. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause. Hold on here. I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording.